Yeah, lots of people will have looked at that bureau and thought, I'll just throw it away because it's too far gone. The gentleman donated that piece. I believe it was his father's, handmade for him. So he has a lot of fond memories of it from when he was a child. Under the Bridge is a local charity, homeless charity in Newcastle, running a hostel and a healthcare centre, but also my side of things is the workshop, which is a furniture restoration workshop, which offers opportunities for the hostel residents and residents of the larger housing association an opportunity to come in and learn woodworking skills, furniture restoration and basic woodworking, but also learning other skills as well. They're socialising with different people. One of the lads that's been there for 30 years. There's some that just stay for a few weeks before they find something else. The dream would be in a few years' time that anybody that comes into the workshop is an actual apprentice that will be taken on for a period of half a year's time, and they will actually go through a process of training, formal qualification. It's a foot in the door really, it's a starting point. Once it's been restored, it comes into our two shops, this one and the Heaton Park Road, to fund the project, completely not for profit. Any money that comes in from these stores goes straight back into the workshop. Most of the pieces can be put back to the former glory, but then we get pieces that can't be. They're too damaged. So we usually take them to pieces and leave the wood until we've got an idea of what we want to do. And we do various projects, big and small. This table that I'm actually leaning on was an extendable table which was broken, so it's now been turned into a smaller dining table. We made tea lights out of little scrap pieces of wood by gluing the strips together and planing them down, which was done by one of the service users, so learning how to use the tools. And then another participant at the workshop finished them, so put on the oils to protect them, and we made little tea light holders out of them. So it's anything from big projects to small projects. Dean is focusing on that kind of area where he's taking one of the participants and passing on his skills to actually create something different out of it, reinventing into something new.
Joinery started when I was 14 years old. I used to do spare time work for people I know, and my original career was going to be in the Navy, but grandparents all ruling and things like that you need an apprenticeship. They decided that's the way I wanted to go, and I achieved to get an apprenticeship while I was at school, and I was the only one in my year at that time to get an apprenticeship with Bramall and Ogden's, an old company in a place called Mexborough in South Yorkshire. But I've worked for some very big companies that's taken me around the world 2 or 3 times. I had a motorcycle accident, and it stemmed as it's gone on through the years, where my back's progressively gone worse, and I had a slight injury to the head where I've developed a thing called syncope, where I can't stand for very long before I start wavering about and want to fall over. So I thought my career were over at the time. It were reverting to, do you want to go in a call centre? Are you any good on computers? And so on and so on and so on. But I couldn't drive at the time, so I couldn't get myself about. I get about on crutches now as it is. I wanted to actually hand back the knowledge that I got rather than it go to waste. And somebody introduced me to this place, and I came here and they give me a chance to just try things, adapt different methods for myself, and I found that I could still do it. I've developed a 6-week program, and that's all the basic principles of what joinery is. Having a getting them to understand that it's not just a matter of getting that and banging some nails in and it's there, it's done. It's going, well, it's got to look nice, it's got to be right, it's got to be strong, it's got to hold itself. And it's getting them to think on that line to where they want to take it further. And that's the whole point of it. It's a very monotonous, boring game, if you like. But to be able to get somebody to say, I want another go at it, and I want another go at it, and another go at it, then that's the kind of person to focus on. And the most rewarding thing I've had out of it is, I got one lad in particular, and he sent me a text message when he were in college, and his instructor told him he were doing absolutely brilliantly. He says, I'd just like to thank you for believing in me. And that was like, that's what it's all about.
Because that hit you there, mate.
I did at the time, aye. And yeah, he's doing really well. He'll make a good joiner when he's finished his time.
How important is it for you to not get involved in, say, the personal backstories? Do you actively try to avoid that?
What, on their situations?
Yeah.
And that? I do, because it kind of makes you more emotionally tied to them, and the fact that you seem to carry their problem with you. What it is like, they'll come here today, and if this were a proper paid environment for a proper job, as we call it, right, if they're not feeling altogether 100% with themselves and they need just a little bit of time out to themselves or take an easy day, it's very, very amicable here. Whereas a normal employer might want that piece of work done today, and it just wouldn't work it for them, and before you know it, they'll be back at home doing nothing, twiddling their thumbs. Whereas they come here and it's like, okay, well, at least you've had a go. We know you're safe, you're here, and at the end of the day, it's sanctuary for them. It's a place of safety for them to come and feel safe and feel happy to come to. We try to instill it where it's come in the morning, this is your start time, this is your break times, this is your home time. The only thing that ever really gets adhered to is home time. It's not just coming here to work, it's like when they get in the canteen, they'll sit there and they'll have a chat with each other. And that conversation can be rolling on. But when they leave here, they've probably got nobody to talk to. They're on their own, sat in the flat, in the house. They've just got nobody. And even if they have got somebody, they could be sat at home with the family and just be as lonely as anybody. So to sit and listen to having a conversation, is sometimes just leave them at it. Just let them have a talk. There's no vast great pressure as far as I can see, and I like it that way. It's my focus is more on the people and that sideboard there. I think it's more of having a feeling of achievement for themselves, to say that they've been able to do something, and I will walk past the shop and see an item that they've done and say, I did that. And a lot of them I've seen that have come through here have just got nothing to their lives. It's kind of been shunned away from them, and they feel as though they're a social outcast, if you like. Nobody wants to know them. But here it's more of a thing of, well, we do. We want to give you that chance to actually come, give it a go, and show your worth and see what you like.